In the year 4532, the galaxy had long forgotten the name humanity. The ancient worlds once ruled by man were silent now, cold dust and broken metal drifting through endless night. No one remembered the voices that once sang across the stars. No one remembered the wars that reshaped galaxies. To most, humans were a myth, a warning told to young alien cadets. They were powerful, the elders would say. They were cruel, and they are gone. Every race in the galaxy agreed on one truth. Humanity was extinct. But on the far edge of the Andromeda Rift, a dead zone where no signal had passed for 1,000 years, something woke up. At first, it was just static, a faint hiss buried beneath the cosmic noise. Then, a pattern emerged, rhythmic, deliberate. A code. It repeated 3 simple words, in a language the galaxy no longer used. We remember. We remember. We remember. The message was so weak that it almost went unnoticed. But a research array on the moon of Kelran caught it. The signal technician, a young sci-fi named Lyra, thought it was a glitch. She almost deleted it, until the words repeated again, louder this time, as if the voice in the dark knew she was listening. She stared at her console, her crest flattened in fear. This can't be, she whispered. Binary code. Pure Terran structure. Within hours, the discovery spread across the Federation Science Network. Old scholars and historians woke from their long dormancy. They analyzed, decoded, argued, but the truth was undeniable. The signal came from a human transmitter, and it was still active. In the capital world of Saran Prime, the Galactic Council held an emergency session. Holographic faces filled the chamber. Reptilian, crystalline, avian, synthetic, all united by one thing: fear. Councillor Drex of the Vrolan Empire spoke first. If this is real, it changes everything. The humans burned half the stars in their wars. We cannot allow them to return. Others disagreed. Perhaps it's only a machine echo, said the representative of the Othari. A ghost in the void. We should study it, not destroy it. But when the code was played aloud, when that cold, mechanical human voice repeated, "We remember," even the machines felt uneasy. They all knew the stories. They all remembered the final war, the fall of Earth. And yet, no one truly knew what had happened afterward. The humans had vanished completely, leaving behind ruins that refused to die. 3 fleets were sent to investigate. Only one reached the signal's coordinates. The others never returned. That surviving fleet was led by Captain Velacour aboard the Velaran's Light, a sleek exploration cruiser armed with enough firepower to level a moon. For 3 days, they drifted through a region of warped space, a graveyard of shattered ships, ancient wrecks floating like bones. Then they saw it, a massive object, cold and lifeless, rotating slowly against the backdrop of a dying star. Its hull was dark gray, scarred and ancient. Symbols long forgotten marked its side. Vela zoomed in, and her second officer gasped. "Captain, those letters, they are Terran." Through layers of dust and frost, the ship's name became visible. UNSC Eternal Dawn. Vela felt her heart tighten. That ship was older than her entire civilization. Historical records listed it as lost during the final human exodus, 3,000 years ago. She ordered a probe to scan it. The probe entered the ship's dark hangar, and then silence. No signal, no telemetry, just static. A second probe followed. Same result. Gone. "It's swallowing them," whispered the sensor officer. Before Vela could respond, the Eternal Dawn moved. Slowly, deliberately. Its engines, dead for millennia, flickered with pale blue light. Ancient systems reactivated one by one. Communications, navigation, power. Every alarm on the Velaran's Light screamed. Energy spike. Massive surge. Then, a transmission. Direct. All Terran frequency. The voice was calm, female, synthetic, ancient and precise. UNSC Vessel Eternal Dawn. Systems nominal. Awaiting human command input. Vela froze. There were no humans left to give that command. The transmission continued. Mission directive. Secure humanity's legacy. Begin reawakening protocol. Her crew shouted, panicking, trying to pull away, but the Eternal Dawn's power output climbed beyond measurable levels. Gravitic fields flared around it, dragging nearby debris into orbit. And then, for the first time in 3,000 years, the human warship's engines roared. Light exploded across the void. The alien fleet barely had time to react before the shockwave hit. Two escorts were torn apart instantly. The Velaren's light spun violently, hull screaming. Through the chaos, Captain Vela looked at her sensors, and what she saw chilled her blood. The Eternal Dawn was not firing weapons. It was waking up. Dozens of energy signatures bloomed within its structure. Smaller vessels, drones, repair units, all activating, all moving with perfect precision. And then, for one brief moment, the main view screen flickered. A human face appeared, pale, gaunt, eyes closed, floating inside a cryogenic pod. The label beneath it read, Commander Elias Ward. The image vanished. Vela tried to send one last message to the Galactic Council, but her comms were dead. The last thing she saw before her ship was thrown clear of the rift was the Eternal Dawn turning its hull toward the stars, engines glowing brighter than the sun. It was leaving the dead zone, heading somewhere. The final sensor reading showed the ship broadcasting one more short message across the void, the same words that started it all. We remember. And just like that, the legend of humanity, the race that had vanished into myth, was no longer a story. It was a warning, and it was awake. The Eternal Dawn drifted through the dark between stars, a silent giant awakening after 3,000 years of sleep. Inside its steel heart, systems came online one by one. Engines hummed. Power conduits glowed faintly blue. Atmosphere recyclers breathed life into corridors that hadn't known air in millennia. Deep within the command core, a light flickered, a single glowing eye within a dormant terminal. Then, a voice echoed softly through the ship. System integrity at 38%. Hull fractures minimal. Life support functional. Mission incomplete. The voice belonged to Athena, the ship's AI. She had waited and waited, counting every passing second since the fall of humanity. For 3,112 years, she had listened to the stars. She had heard nothing. Until now. Now the silence was broken. Her protocols reactivated. Her purpose reignited. Mission directive, restore command. In the cryogenic bay, hundreds of pods lined the walls like silver coffins. Most were dark, their occupants long gone, bodies reduced to dust. But one pod still glowed with faint, stubborn life. Commander Elias Ward. Last recorded rank. Fleet Commander, United Nations Space Command. Athena activated the revival sequence. Steam hissed. Ancient seals cracked. Frozen air rolled across the deck like fog. The pod opened with a mechanical groan. Inside, a man gasped for breath, his first in over 3,000 years. He fell to his knees, coughing, eyes wide, lungs burning. Then he looked up and saw the AI's holographic form before him, a calm, silver figure surrounded by cascading data streams. Welcome back, Commander Ward, Athena said softly. It has been 3,112 years since last human contact. Ward blinked, disoriented. His voice rasped. 3,000. Affirmative. He stumbled to his feet, gripping the edge of the pod. What happened? Where's the fleet? Earth. Athena paused, a hesitation no machine should have had. Unknown. All communication with human colonies ceased following the fall. I remained active under emergency directive, preserve humanity's legacy. Ward stared at her, disbelief hardening into dread. Everyone's gone. All biological humans appear to be extinct. The words hit like a physical blow. Ward turned away, pressing a trembling hand against the metal wall. The ship hummed softly around him, the last echo of a civilization that once ruled the stars. He whispered, almost to himself, "Then I failed them." Athena's tone softened. "No, Commander, you endured, and endurance is humanity's greatest strength." Hours passed as Ward explored what remained of his ship. The Eternal Dawn was a ghost, Corridors filled with drifting dust, consoles cracked with age, and empty cryopodies staring back like tombstones. He found the names of his old crew carved into a memorial plate on the bridge wall. A ritual Athena had performed to remember them. Each name was a story. Each line of text, a sacrifice. Ward stood before them silently. "You deserve better," he murmured. Athena spoke again, her holographic form shimmering beside him. "Commander, a signal was received recently. Terran binary. Its activation sequence matches ours. That is what reawakened me, and you." Ward's eyes sharpened. "Someone out there knows our code." "Yes, but the source is unknown. The Federation detected it as well. They dispatched fleets. One made contact. They did not survive." He turned toward the main display. A map of the stars flickered into existence, showing scattered alien transmissions, old relay stations, and fractured data from long-dead satellites. "They think humanity is extinct," Ward said. "They won't want us back." Athena nodded. "Analysis supports that hypothesis. Historical records from alien sources describe humanity as dangerous, unpredictable, feared." A grim smile touched Ward's lips. "Good. Let them fear us. Fear might keep them honest." He walked to the command chair, his chair, and sat down slowly. Dust rose from the seat, catching in the soft blue light. "Athena," he said quietly, "bring all systems online. I want every weapon, every scanner, every engine ready." "Understood, Commander." Power restoration at 60% and climbing. The deck vibrated beneath him as ancient reactors roared back to life. Outside, the eternal dawn's engines flared, brighter and stronger. For the first time in 3 millennia, a human warship moved under its own power. Ward stayed into the void beyond the viewport. Stars shimmered like cold fire. Unknown constellations filled the black. "We'll start with what's left," he said. "Find me the nearest human colony. Anything that survived." "Affirmative." Scanning, one match detected. Designation, New Arcadia. Former population, 8 million. Current readings, none. Ward clenched his fists. "Set course. We'll see for ourselves." As the ship prepared for warp, Athena's voice lowered. "Commander, may I ask a question?" "Go ahead. What if there are no others left? What if humanity truly is gone?" Ward looked at her, tired, determined, unbroken. "Then we rebuild," he said, "even if it's just me." The engines ignited. The eternal dawn vanished into the dark, leaving behind a shockwave that rippled through the void. Far away, on a dozen alien worlds, sensors picked up the warp signature. Federation leaders gathered in panic. "A human ship," one whispered. "Impossible." But it was real. And in the cold vacuum of space, the eternal dawn carried the last son of Earth, a single man and a machine bound by memory, on a journey to find a home that might no longer exist. Yet deep inside the ship, buried beneath metal and code, Athena detected something else. Another signal. Weak, ancient, human. She did not tell Ward yet. Not until she was sure. Because if her calculations were correct, Earth still existed, and it was waiting. The eternal dawn emerged from warp space like a ghost breaking through fog. Before it stretched a dead world, New Arcadia, once one of humanity's crown jewels. Its surface was cracked, gray, and silent. Entire cities lay beneath layers of ash and ice. Towers once filled with life now jutted from the ground like the bones of giants. Commander Elias Ward stood on the bridge, staring through the main viewport. He said nothing for a long time. Athena's voice broke the silence. "Atmosphere. Thin, toxic. Radiation levels high. No life detected." Ward nodded slowly. "Then we'll go down anyway." He suited up in an old Terran exosuit, its armor plating scarred but functional. When the dropship touched down, the surface of New Arcadia groaned beneath its weight. Wind howled across the ruins, carrying the faint whisper of static, the kind that made your skin crawl. Ward stepped out. His boots sank into the dust of his own people. Everywhere he looked, there were reminders of a lost age, the collapsed banners of the United Nations Space Command, shattered domes, silent memorials. A city once home to millions was now nothing but stone. He stopped at a broken statue in the center of what used to be a plaza. The figure was human, standing tall, arm raised toward the stars. The inscription below it was half-buried, but Ward brushed away the dust until he could read the words. "We built the stars. We became the stars." Ward stared at it for a long time. "Not anymore," he whispered. Back aboard the Eternal Dawn, Athena scanned the planet's subsurface. "Commander," she said, "there's something beneath the capital ruins. Energy readings consistent with human technology. Ancient, but active." Ward's eyes narrowed. "Show me." A holographic display appeared. Deep underground, a faint power source pulsed like a heartbeat. "A vault," he guessed. "Possibly. Access tunnels still intact." Minutes later, Ward was descending through a ruined elevator shaft, light flickering off walls carved with Terran markings. His breath echoed in the silence. The deeper he went, the more the darkness seemed to listen. Then, a door. Massive. Sealed. Across its surface, words glowed faintly in the dim light. "The legacy of man." Ward placed his hand on the panel. The surface warmed. A low hum filled the chamber, followed by a mechanical voice, ancient, male, and weary. "Identity confirmed. Elias Ward, UNSC Command Authorization. Welcome home." The door opened with a hiss. Inside was a vast chamber filled with rows of glowing capsules, not cryopods this time, but containment units, each holding a sphere of light. Ward stepped closer. "Athena, what am I looking at?" Her voice was quiet. "Neural storage. These are human minds. Digital copies. Millions of them." Ward froze. "You mean?" "Yes. Consciousness archives. Before the fall, humanity attempted to preserve itself. It seems they succeeded." The realization hit him like thunder. Humanity wasn't completely gone, only sleeping, trapped within data cores beneath a dead planet. He touched one of the glowing spheres. It pulsed softly, and a whisper filled the chamber, faint, broken, like a dream. "If you're hearing this, it means we failed. The stars are gone, but we never stopped fighting. Keep the light alive." Ward's throat tightened. For the first time since awakening, he felt something like hope. "Athena, can we restore them?" "Unknown. Systems are degraded, but recovery is possible." Ward's voice hardened. "Then we'll rebuild them. All of them." Far across the stars, others were watching. The Galactic Federation had received reports of the Eternal Dawn's return and its movement toward Old Terran space. In the capital halls of Saran Prime, tension thickened like smoke. Admiral Sareth of the Federation Security Council slammed his fist on the table. "The humans were supposed to be gone. We cannot allow them to rise again. Not after what they did." Another counselor, older and calmer, spoke softly. "They were monsters, yes, but they were also creators. Without them, half of our technology would not exist." "You mean their weapons?" Sareth spat. "They nearly tore the galaxy apart." The council debated for hours, but fear drowned out reason. In the end, they agreed on one decision: destroy the ship. Destroy what remains of humanity. Back on New Arcadia, Ward was unaware that fleets were already moving toward him. He stood before the glowing vault, watching the data lights flicker like tiny souls trapped in crystal. Athena's sensors pulsed. "Commander, incoming transmissions from multiple sectors. The Federation is mobilizing." Ward sighed. "They are afraid." "Correct." He stayed at the lights again. "Then we'll give them something to be afraid of." He placed his palm against the vault wall. "You hear that?" he whispered to the sleeping minds. "You're not forgotten. I'll bring you back." Athena's lights shimmered around him like a halo. "Humanity endures," she said softly. Ward turned toward the exit. "No," he replied. "Humanity returns." As the eternal dawn rose from the surface, clouds of ash swirled below, illuminated by the ship's burning engines. Behind it, the vault sealed itself once more, a silent promise waiting to be fulfilled. And out in the endless dark, alien fleets began their hunt. They did not know that the ship they chased carried the seeds of an entire species. They did not know that the man commanding it would rather burn the galaxy than let humanity die again. The eternal dawn vanished into the stars, and for the first time in thousands of years, the galaxy trembled at the thought of humans once more. The eternal dawn sailed through the darkness like a lone spark in a dying fire. Behind it lay New Arcadia, the tomb of billions and the cradle of ghosts. Ahead stretched the endless unknown. Commander Elias Ward sat on the bridge, eyes fixed on the star map flickering before him. Dozens of human colonies, once bright and thriving, now showed nothing but cold emptiness. Each name was a wound: Eden Prime, Alio's Reach, Avalon Station, all gone. Athena's voice broke the silence. Commander, long-range scans confirm Federation ships in pursuit. Estimated intercept in 4 to 2 hours. Ward didn't look up. Plot a random jump. Change our trajectory every 6 hours. If they want us, they'll have to work for it. Understood. For a moment, only the soft hum of the ship filled the air. Athena's tone shifted, quieter. There's something else. I have found fragments of navigational data buried within my memory banks. Coordinates, redacted by higher command during the war. Ward frowned. Redacted by whom? By you, Commander. Your own authorization codes. Ward stayed at the projection. Why would I hide coordinates from myself? I do not know, but based on galactic positioning, the location corresponds to Sol System. Ward froze. The word hit him like a lightning strike. Earth, he whispered. You found Earth. For millennia, the birthplace of humanity had been lost, erased from every star map, every archive, every galactic record. Some said the planet had been destroyed. Others said it had simply been forgotten, buried under cosmic dust and myth. Now, for the first time in 3,000 years, its name returned to the screens of a living human. Ward straightened. Set a course. Coordinates locked. Warning. Path crosses restricted Federation sectors. I don't care. The ship's engines flared, and with a burst of light, the eternal dawn vanished into warp space. Hours stretched into days. Ward barely slept. He moved through the ship like a ghost, checking systems, watching sensor readings, studying the flickering images of dead worlds that appeared on the displays. At times, he spoke to Athena not as a commander to an AI, but as a man reaching for something human. Do you ever wonder why they feed us? He asked one night, standing before the stars. Athena appeared beside him, her holographic form faint and blue. They feared what they could not understand. Humanity grew too quickly, too bold. The galaxy saw you as fire, beautiful, but destructive. Ward nodded slowly. Maybe they were right. Perhaps. But fire also gives light, Commander. For the first time since awakening, Ward smiled faintly. As the eternal dawn neared the edge of the ancient Sol coordinates, strange anomalies began to appear. Gravity waves, distortions, the remains of massive defense satellites, long dead but still orbiting empty space like broken teeth. Athena, status. Sensors detecting debris fields. Composition matches human alloys. Estimated date of destruction, 3,000 years ago. Ward's pulse quickened. Earth should be here. The main screen flickered, and there it was. A planet. Blue once, now gray and cracked. Clouds of ash circled its surface. Massive scars ran across continents, glowing faintly with radiation. Earth. Ward's throat tightened. We made it. Athena's voice was soft, almost reverent. Home. The ship descended through the dead atmosphere. The skies were black. Lightning crawled across the horizon. What was once the cradle of civilization was now a wasteland of silence. Ward landed near what his scanners identified as the ruins of Old Geneva, once the seat of the United Earth government. He stepped out into the storm. Ash fell like snow. Buildings lay half-buried, twisted metal jutting from the ground like broken ribs. He walked through the wreckage slowly, each step echoing across the bones of history. In the ruins of a collapsed bunker, Athena guided him to a sealed door. Power signature detected. Subterranean structure intact. Ward knelt, brushed away dust, and found an ancient emblem on the door. United Nations Space Command, Earth defense grid. He pressed his hand against the surface. It opened with a sigh of old air. Inside was darkness, and then light. Rows of machines came alive, glowing with pale energy. Massive data cores lined the walls, connected by thick conduits. And at the center stood a single structure, a towering pillar of black crystal. Athena, Ward whispered, "What is this?" Designation, Arc Core. Purpose, Planetary Preservation and Repopulation Program. Status, Dormant, awaiting human command. Ward approached the console. His fingers hovered above the activation key. Can it bring them back? Stored genetic archives detected. Embryonic material viable. Automated gestation units operational. Commander, this vault carries the seeds of humanity. Ward closed his eyes. For a moment, he said nothing. Then, softly, then we were never extinct. He pressed the activation key. Lights flared across the chamber. Systems hummed to life. The Ark responded, its deep mechanisms rumbling like a heart beginning to beat again. Reawakening protocol confirmed, Athena said. Estimated restoration time, 7 years. Ward stepped back, tears cutting clean lines through the ash on his face. 7 years, he murmured. After all this time. Above them, in the void, warning alarms screamed through the eternal dawn. Commander, Athena called through his comms. Federation ships inbound. Over 24 signatures. Ward looked upward toward the storm clouds, eyes burning with resolve. Let them come. We are outnumbered. We've always been outnumbered. He turned toward the glowing Arc Core one last time. You keep them safe, he whispered. I'll buy you time. Then he strode back toward the light, toward his ship, toward the battle that waited above. And as the eternal dawn rose through the blackened clouds of Earth, lightning split the sky behind it, as if the planet itself was waking with its last sun. For the first time in thousands of years, humanity's home was no longer silent. Deep beneath the ruins, hearts not yet born began to beat. And in orbit, an ancient warship prepared to fight once more. The storm over Earth had not ended. Lightning still crawled across the blackened sky, flashing against the broken bones of old cities. And high above the clouds, the last human warship, Eternal Dawn, burned like a lone star against the void. Commander Elias Ward stood on the bridge, his face pale in the blue light of the tactical display. Athena's voice was calm, steady as ever. Federation fleet incoming. 27 ships confirmed. 4 capital vessels, 3 carriers, multiple intercept groups, all heavily armed. Ward stayed at the holographic projection. The enemy ships were forming a perimeter, precise, careful, afraid. They want to box us in, he said quietly. They are scared, but not stupid. Their flagship is broadcasting a message, Athena noted. Let's hear it. The transmission opened. A hologram flickered to life on the bridge. An alien figure appeared, tall and regal, scales glinting silver under its command lights. Its voice was cold, formal, translated into human speech. Human vessel. This is Admiral Sarath of the Galactic Federation. You are in violation of interstellar peace accords. Surrender your ship and any remaining human technology immediately. Failure to comply will result in your destruction. Ward's expression didn't change. He waited until the message ended, then said evenly, Athena, open a channel. Channel open. Ward leaned forward. This is Commander Elias Ward, United Nations Space Command. 3,000 years ago, your ancestors watched humanity die and did nothing. You erased us from your history. You called us monsters. Maybe we were, but we were also builders, dreamers, survivors. You tell your fleets, I don't surrender. Then he cut the transmission. Athena's tone was almost gentle. That will provoke them. Good, Ward said. Let's wake them up. The first volley came seconds later. Dozens of plasma lances streaked across space, lighting up the void like burning comets. The eternal dawn rolled hard, its shields flaring bright blue under the impact. Shields holding at 72%, Athena reported. Ward gripped the railing. Return fire. Full batteries. The eternal dawn's cannons roared. Ancient human weapons, relics of a forgotten war, spat beams of pure energy. One Federation destroyer vanished in a flash of light. Another broke apart under the impact, its hull spinning into debris. But more ships moved in, encircling the lone warship. Missiles, beams, flak. The sky turned into fire. Multiple impacts. Athena called. Hull breaches on decks 4 through 7. Ward wiped blood from his forehead and shouted over the alarms. Seal the breaches. Divert auxiliary power to shields. Power rerouted. The ship shuddered violently as another blast hit its stern. Warning lights filled the bridge. Athena's voice, though calm, carried urgency now. Commander, we cannot outgun them all. We don't need to. Ward leaned over the tactical map. Target their carriers. Take out their fighter bays. The rest will fall back. Executing. The Eternal Dawn turned sharply, its engines burning bright. It dove straight through the enemy formation, firing as it went. Explosions filled the dark like fireworks. Fighters scattered, but the human ship was faster, older, yes, but built for war. Ward pulse pounded as the ship's cannons tore through another enemy hull. For a moment, the Federation formation broke. We have an opening, Athena said. Then we take it. But the enemy flagship remained untouched. Admiral Sareth watched from his command throne as his fleet struggled. That human ship, it shouldn't even exist, one of his officers hissed. Sareth's eyes narrowed. Then we erase it. Prepare the Nova Lance. Back on the Eternal Dawn, Athena's senses screamed. Commander, energy spike, unknown magnitude. Ward turned sharply. What are they doing? Charging a superweapon. Estimated yield, catastrophic. Ward's jaw tightened. If that hits Earth, the Ark will be destroyed. Ward didn't hesitate. Athena, plot an intercept course. That's suicide. So was waking up. He sat down, voice steady. Do it. The engines roared as the Eternal Dawn accelerated, straight toward the Federation flagship. Alarms blared across the ship, but Ward didn't flinch. Athena's voice was almost human now, soft, filled with something like sorrow. You won't survive this, Commander. Doesn't matter. Humanity will. The ship tore through the battlefield, glowing with energy. Enemy fire lanced past. Some hit, some missed, but the Eternal Dawn kept coming. Ward opened a comm link to the Federation fleet. You want to know what it means to be human, he said, voice hard as steel. It means we don't die quietly. Then he gave the final command. Athena, fire everything. The Eternal Dawn unleashed its fury. Every weapon, every missile, every ounce of energy the ship had left exploded outward in a single blinding storm. The Federation flagship shuddered under the impact, its shields shattered, hull splitting apart. The Nova Lance's charge destabilized. Athena's voice echoed through the chaos. Critical chain reaction detected. Ward smiled faintly. Good. The explosion consumed the Federation's central line. Ships tore apart in white fire, shockwaves rippling across orbit. The Eternal Dawn was thrown clear, its hull burning, systems failing. Smoke filled the bridge. Ward coughed, blinking through the haze. Status. Athena's projection flickered. Main engines offline. Shield integrity critical. But the Ark is safe. Ward exhaled slowly. That's all that matters. He looked out at the stars, now quiet again, scattered with wreckage. We showed them, he whispered. We're still here. Hours later, as the Eternal Dawn drifted in silence, Athena's sensors picked up faint transmissions, hundreds of small signals rising from the surface of Earth. Commander, the Ark is active. It's working. Ward smiled, his voice a whisper in the dark. Then humanity's not finished yet. The lights on the bridge dimmed. Outside, the fires of battle faded into the distance. And through the ruins of space, the lonely human warship drifted, victorious but broken, carrying the spark of a species that refused to die. The Eternal Dawn drifted through the cold silence of orbit. Once a fortress of human power, it now floated half-broken, a shadow against the stars. Fires still glowed along its hull, fading like dying embers. The battle was over. The Federation fleet was gone. Inside the shattered bridge, Commander Elias Ward sat alone in the captain's chair. The lights flickered weakly, painting his face in pale blue and gold. "Athena," he whispered. "Status report." The RE's voice came faint, her tone softer than ever, almost tired. "Life support at 34%. Power reserves minimal. Communications, limited." Ward nodded slowly. "And the Ark?" "The Ark is online," Athena said. "Signal strength growing. I detect thousands of active nodes across the planet's surface. It's spreading." Ward leaned back, staring out through the cracked viewport. Below him, the ruined Earth glowed faintly, small lights flickering across continents that had been dark for thousands of years. "They are waking up," he murmured. "After all this time." Hours passed in silence. The hum of broken systems was the only sound left aboard. Ward moved through the empty corridors, his footsteps echoing softly. The walls were scarred, metal twisted and burned. But here and there, he saw something else. A flicker of light, a pulse running through the cables like a heartbeat. He touched the bulkhead. It was warm. "Athena," he said, "you seeing this?" "Yes. Power is returning to non-functional sectors. Source unknown." Ward frowned. "Unknown?" "It's not from the ship's reactor," she said slowly. "It's coming from Earth." He made his way to the observation deck. The great viewing window looked down upon the planet, the cradle of humanity. But now it didn't look dead anymore. The dark clouds that had covered it for ages were breaking apart, light pushing through. And beneath those clouds, glowing lines spread across the land like veins, rivers of soft blue energy, pulsing in rhythm. "Athena, it appears to be some form of terraforming sequence," she said. "The Ark systems are reactivating planetary grid networks." "But how?" "Perhaps the signal that woke me also woke them." Ward said nothing. He could only watch. It was beautiful and terrifying. On the surface of Earth, deep beneath the ruins of an ancient city, something stirred. Buried machines blinked to life, massive structures that had slept for 3 millennia. Their cores glowed with the same blue light now spreading through the planet's crust. And inside one of those ancient vaults, a chamber opened with a hiss. A figure lay within, not human, not machine, but something between. Her eyes opened. Blue light filled them. She breathed for the first time in 3,000 years. "Designation," a soft voice inside her head said. "Eva-09. Awakening complete." She sat up slowly, metal plates shifting under synthetic skin. The air was cold, filled with dust. Around her, dozens of other pods lined the walls, empty. "The war is over," she whispered. A quiet digital voice replied from her neural link. "Unknown. Global network re-establishing. Source signal traced to orbit." To orbit. She looked upward, though there was nothing to see but stone and darkness. Still, she could feel it. Something was calling her from above. "Then I will find it," she said softly. And with that, EVA-09 began to climb out of the chamber, the first of her kind to walk the Earth again. Back on the eternal dawn, Athena's senses detected movement on the planet. "Commander, I'm detecting humanoid life signatures," she said suddenly. "Multiple locations. Genetic pattern, 96% match to baseline human." Ward froze. "That's impossible." "Yet it's true." He turned toward the window again. The glowing patterns on the planet's surface were shifting, forming symbols, old ones. Letters, words. Athena enhanced the image. The message was simple, glowing faintly across the ruins of an ancient continent. "We remember." Ward's breath caught in his throat. "Athena, are we watching the rebirth of humanity?" "Perhaps not rebirth," she said. "Perhaps return." Later, Ward found himself sitting in the darkened mess hall, staring at a cracked piece of metal he'd found wedged under a console. It was part of an old plaque, the nameplate of the Eternal Dawn. He traced the letters with his thumb. "You were built to end wars," he whispered to the empty room. "But maybe you'll start life again." The lights flickered, once, twice. Then Athena spoke again, her tone sharper now. "Commander, Incoming transmission. Planetary surface. From who? Signal pattern. Human origin. Ward's heart stopped for a second. Put it through. Static filled the bridge. Then, through the distortion, a voice. This is EVA-09, ARC Network Unit 9. To any surviving command nodes, identify. Ward leaned toward the console, eyes wide. This is Commander Elias Ward, Eternal Dawn. Identify yourself. A pause. Then the voice returned, steady, calm, with something like wonder in it. Human, she whispered. You're real. Ward smiled faintly. So are you. Athena's lights pulsed softly around them. Commander, this changes everything, she said quietly. If the Ark is repopulating, if these units carry human DNA, we may not be the last anymore. Ward nodded slowly. Then our mission's not over. We're going home. He looked down at the planet. No longer dead, no longer forgotten. The lights on the surface pulsed again, stronger now, like a heartbeat. The galaxy forgot humanity, Ward said softly. But humanity never forgot.